Hello, this is the tradesight U.S. stocks and futures market preview and local U.S. economic data roadmap for the week beginning Monday, the 30th of September, going into Friday, the 4th of October. Monday is the last day of the third quarter. Amazingly, we are heading into Q4 2013. Last day of the quarters tend to be fairly flat, just because we're looking at window dressing. A lot of the stocks are where the big funds want them for their end of quarter pricing on their statements. So you don't typically get a lot of movement. Unfortunately, it's on a Monday, which makes Monday potentially a waste of time. But we do have stuff going on here in terms of the potential government shutdown the following day that might move the market around a bit. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out. Let's start as usual with the S&P 500 daily chart. Here is the 13 sell signal that we got 2 weeks ago, and it immediately popped on some news when the Fed decided they were not going to stop QE, and there was a risk line that's right here. You can't see it. It's under the bars that we popped above, but we never got the confirmation move above that high. So that risk line is still in place. Essentially means the 13 sell signal is still in place, and we have rolled over since then. So that red static trend line becomes a potential trade to target, therefore, on the S&P 500. Here's the NASDAQ side. Fairly flat this week. These are the seeker counts again. Nothing new going on there. We're only 3 bars into the 13 countdown phase, so nothing exciting there. We've got the stocks. Not much going on here either. Obviously dead flat on the key semiconductor arena. And here's the biotechs actually turned up late in the week. Hard to fight the market when the biotechs are heading up. They tend to lead things. We'll see what that ends up giving us. Meanwhile, oil, as we approach the back end of summer and the heat starting to come in, as I said a couple weeks ago, I thought we'd maybe start to head back to the 102 area, and that's what we got to this week. We did get a 9-bar move down completed on Monday, so we've started a new seeker countdown phase, but we're only 3 bars into that. And then also here's a look at gold, which has been fairly flat this last week. All right, so those are the daily charts and where we're at generally in the market. Let's take a look at the intra-week charts. This is the NASDAQ 100 futures. What a flat week this was. Look at this. Here's the close last Friday. We gapped up, filled that gap quickly on Monday, got a reciprocal move to the downside, and then ended up mid-range. Gapped up a little bit Tuesday morning and filled it, then kind of wiggled around but stayed inside of Monday's range. Flat opening Wednesday. Lost a little ground, but still mostly inside of Monday's range. Gapped up on Thursday, did not fill the gap on Thursday, but you'll notice we're still inside of the opening hour on Monday is the whole range for the week. We're still inside of that over here. We did get a 9-bar move up on the 10-minute chart. That was the high. 9-bar move down. That was the low. Friday, we gapped down, tried to reach down and fill this gap from Wednesday, although we didn't quite, and then came back up and over lunch filled the gap from there. So the only gap left open is below here. From Wednesday's close. Meanwhile, let's look at the broad market ES. These are the S&P E mini futures. And here, again, we're in a 20-point range for the whole week. Average daily range is 16 points per day on the ES. Opened flat on Monday and headed lower. Opened flat on Tuesday. Wiggled around a bit. Opened flat on Wednesday. Little gap up Thursday that ended up filling. And then a gap down Friday that did not fill. So ironically, the ES has a gap above to go fill right at the static trend line, whereas the NQ's NASDAQ side has a gap below to go fill. So we'll be watching that. But again, we'll go through the global economic data or the U.S. economic data here in a moment. But the big thing right out of the gate is to realize that Monday is the last day of the quarter. Often gives us what we call a window dressing environment. So Monday, we've also got Chicago PMI 15 minutes into the market. That can move things around a bit. Tuesday, ISM index and construction spending, and then in the afternoon, auto and truck sales. Remember, if they don't get this budget passed by Monday, then the government shutdown kicks in on Tuesday unless they figure out some way to do something. On Wednesday, ADP employment change, crude oil inventories. On Thursday, initial and continuing jobless claims. That's our weekly number. Factory orders and ISM services. That could move the market 30 minutes in. And natty gas. Friday, unemployment rate and the non-farm payroll data. That'll be our big number for the week. Hopefully causes some excitement on Friday, but of course, it is still Friday. So that's what we'll be focused on is the end of quarter number, obviously watching what's going on here with the federal budget and the continuing resolution to keep the government open. And then on Friday, the unemployment rate. We will be trading in the lab as usual. Charts brought to you by eSignal 11. Hope you have a great trading week here at TradeSight.